Hola! ALTBAYS show is live, brought to you by ALTBAYS.nz. If you're watching us right now, it's because you are on YouTube, and if you are on YouTube, you should subscribe to our channel. And you can also become a member. There's a button just below the player that says join, and if you click on that one, you can support the platform, giving us a few dollars to make sure that we keep bringing and inviting amazing people to come to our show. Our beautiful studio, it's here in Whitianga and the amazing Coromandel. So if you want to be a podcaster, if you want to run your show, if you want to do some videos for your businesses or even for your business or for whatever, just keep in touch, ALTBAYS.nz. We can give you a hand. This show, obviously, it's a podcast as well, so you can check us out on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts. We're everywhere. Just type ALTBAYS and you will find us. We are also on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Man, TikTok is madness. Are you on TikTok?
No.
No, good on you.
No, look at me.
You would go viral. And just before we start, I just want to give an input to our beautiful friends from the Monkey House Cabaret. They are bringing a cool show. It's the Harmonic Resonators. It's $25 on the 5th of November, okay, from 4 to 6 p.m. Kid-friendly for sure. And this is a fundraiser for the Tepuna Reo in Whitianga from our dear friend Mary Johnson, who gave us a class. If you haven't watched that show, go check it out, Mary Johnson. So make sure to buy your tickets. You'll be up for a treat with the amazing Harmonic Resonators, and also you will be supporting a great cause. Okay? Andrew Barber.
Yo.
How are you, man?
Good.
You say you like the studio.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing. Thanks for having me. Nice to be here. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming. Visual artist.
Yeah.
Painter.
Yeah, I'm a painter. Sorry. Yeah. I've been doing that since I was, little. And yeah, I still do it. Yeah.
And also involved with some.
Yeah, well, so I moved out here 3 years ago to the wilderness out here in nearby Whitianga, and noticed that it's pretty devoid of biodiversity, i.e. the insects and the birds, etc., have all been eaten by the introduced pests.
Oh.
Yeah. So I've spent a lot of time not painting and running around chasing things that don't want to be caught.
So obviously a good observer.
Yeah. I'm pretty much alone where I live, apart from said birds. So I'm just trying to get some friends out there, I think.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Do you like the pizza?
Hey, so good.
Shout out to our friends from Slice Baby.
Everyone who's old, it's like Pizza Hut from the 1980s. When you went to the restaurant, it's delicious.
Nice.
It's obviously Pizza Hut's not like that now.
Nah. Sourdough, man, this one, sourdough base.
Oh, yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
And our friends.
That's what it is.
Mike came to the show, hip hop fan, beautiful father, beautiful family, and
cool. Business
is pumping.
Yeah,
they were so busy. I went to get the pizzas and they were just like,
yeah, nice.
But they still have time to make amazing pizza for ALTBAYS. So shout out to our friends. Make sure to check out Slice Babe NZ on the socials. And yeah, man, summer's gonna be great for those guys. So when you're coming to the Coromandel for a trip, make sure to get your pizza.
Yeah.
Do you eat animals, or you just kill them?
I don't tend to eat the roadkill that I pick up. But no, I eat animals, but not so much as I used to when I lived in the city. Don't go to the supermarket so much anymore. I think I eat mince more than anything. The odd fish, maybe some shellfish occasionally. But to be honest, I don't harvest a lot from where I live, where there's an ocean and there's fish available. It's time to sort of slow down on that harvesting, that resource cowboy action.
Man, I'm plant-based. And I think I went through that phase that most vegans go through of like, we gotta change the world. We gotta tell everyone that we're vegan. And now I'm changing my perception and understanding that.
Right.
Well, killing animals, then it becomes a choice, because nowadays we can pretty much choose to eat whatever we want to eat.
Yeah.
Right. But that thing with catching your own food, like fighting for it, going out there and doing the right way. I understand that it would be a bit tricky for people in the city to go and hunt.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're all in the city these days, like 90% of people, right? It used to be different.
Yeah. But as you said, if you can go out fishing, if you can make that effort,
I'm dubious. I'm real dubious of it. Just because it could be time to, let the wild grow a bit. You know what I mean? Rewild, I think, is the term.
Why is it so hard? Is it because we're so used to like having everything all the time, and then we think like we're missing out if we don't go for it, like if we don't have it?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's just habit. It's hard to break habits, and it's a genetic habit. It goes back 80 generations, couple of thousand years. We've been doing it all that time, so it'll take time to change that. But I really do think it's time to slow down on that. For humans, I mean, we've bossed the earth all this time, and it is time to chill on the earth, isn't it?
Yeah, and we were talking about Mars just before.
Yeah. So there's the lucky few that are going to depart and live on Mars.
Are they actually lucky?
Yeah. Well, if there's no Earth, I mean, if it's like an extinction event happens, then they will be lucky, right? Yeah.
I always think they're
not lucky, just rich.
Just rich.
Yeah.
Like, because some people say, we should be putting the efforts into supporting our planet.
Yeah.
But then I also understand the argument from the other side that says we should be understanding more about the universe and being able to get resources
absolutely
from other places.
Well, yeah, but that's again about money. Resources, that's just like byword for money, It's not necessarily about survival, I mean, of course need resources to survive, but there's the lucky few that get most of the money from the resources,
Because the world has all the stuff that we...
Not even, it's limited, it's finite resources, And this is why people are racing to space to start mining, like the asteroid belt or whatever,
Does that argument with the world being overpopulated convinces you? Are you...
It's well, I mean, it's overpopulated. Is it overpopulated? The cities are. Some areas are overpopulated, of course, and you can't choose to just spread as a human these days and find a quiet place. You got to stay in the overpopulated spots where you are. But I think developed world, right? So your Western cultures, I think the population's starting to cool off, isn't it? It's not growing so much as it was. I hear, not a professor in that subject, but it's what I glean.
A lot of young people seem to be aware that it's a hard life to raise children in some places and choosing not to.
And choosing not to, and that's going on, and all of that. Rather than, I don't know, it wasn't that long ago that we lived in the country, everyone, and there weren't so many people in the cities, and so people had kids to work their businesses, which was the land, and that was the point of having 9 children, That was slaves. It's so not the way now. As a father of 3, hi guys.
Did you want to have kids, or they just happened? Hi kids.
Yeah. Of course I wanted to have kids.
Of course. I planned every single one of them.
Yeah, no, it just happened, and it's the most beautiful thing. They're the reason I'm around, isn't it?
Yeah. As an artist, though.
Yeah, it's tough to make a living as an artist in New Zealand. There isn't much of a market for art here. The general public some people like art. Most people don't notice it.
And the people who like art, I think they can be quite like they might love art and being super broke.
Yeah.
That's why.
yeah. Yeah, that's us.
And then
yeah.
And that includes artists.
Yeah.
But then you have, and I'm not saying that rich people don't appreciate art. That would be very unfair of me. But like,
no,
a lot of people see.
No, I mean, there's collectors out there. There's just like not a huge population in New Zealand, so there's not a huge pool of collectors. So thus, there's not a huge market to be an artist in New Zealand.
How easy it is or how hard for a New Zealand artist to actually crack an international.
You just move. You get out of New Zealand.
Or the artist moves.
The artist moves. So you got to. Like if you want to be an artist in Europe or North America or Asia, you go to those places. That's art. You got to be involved. You got to be on the ground. So
you mean like not producing the art overseas, but like being out there.
Producing the art.
Both,
like all of my friends, most of them that I grew up with, making art, they don't live in New Zealand anymore.
Which. Hello? Or we're back?
Yeah, we're back. Yeah.
Which countries have you been to?
Where have I been? Europe a couple of times. So, a bunch of places in Europe. North America a few times. Australia, Japan. Japan's amazing. There's a culture. I
saw some pictures on your Instagram.
Oh, yeah. Japan. It's a beautiful thing.
It's so polite. It's so cool. And then you get the when it gets dark, and a lot of your pictures were from those moments. That is the real.
What when they get drunk?
Yeah.
There's also it's really great. They hate white people. Not everyone. You can't generalize here, but it's great reverse what you call racism, and it's just wonderful to see.
But as soon as they connect with you, it's fine. You
won't get a connection in a little rural Japanese town where they've put an art gallery and then all the Europeans turn up and are rude and horrible and not polite like the Japanese for the last 60 years. They hate you, and it's refreshing. It's great. You're not the best in the world.
It humbles you, eh?
Yeah, it's great.
How old were you when you were there?
How old? I was there 6-7 years ago, I think.
Oh yeah,
2017 was when I was there and I did that show. Yeah, Goya Curtain was the name of the gallery. In Tokyo?
Did you make a contact first, or you were just like, I'm going and I'll see you?
I made a contact first. Often I'd go to a place to make art and do something little. Not like trying to break into the market or anything, but just to travel and, have some dough while you're traveling or something to do, some reason to travel. I'm not much of a go see an old building kind of guy,
Andrew, just before we move further, that is, you said that you had a group of friends when you were younger that were all artists.
Yeah,
and they are all living overseas.
Yeah.
So, how was to grow up and becoming an artist? Was everyone that was an artist with you kind of went well, or
you do it? You spend all your time doing it, and we ran little galleries together, like Artist Run Spaces is what it was called in Auckland. Did a couple of those, and you just do that, and then you meet everyone that's involved in the art world in New Zealand, I should say, which is pretty small. But so pretty quickly you meet everyone, and then suddenly you're an artist, But if you want to be a full-time artist all day, every day, it's hard to do that in New Zealand. So a lot of my friends went to the rest of the world.
Do you remember the day that you are like, okay, I am an artist now?
I am an artist now. I guess it was like, you're doing exhibitions and then you're like, oh, yeah, I'm definitely an artist, Yeah. And until then you're insecure and you're like, oh, God, am I an artist? Am I really? Am I just fucking around,
Some of your paintings, man, I noticed that you play with everything, the canvas.
Oh,
the
I
wood,
see. Yeah.
what goes around and the materials. And then while I was appreciating it, I also had in my mind some people looking at it and saying, "What the fuck is that?"
You get that with contemporary art, like always. Like
So-
it's like that's not art, it's not painting or whatever. But that's a very old mentality.
And what came to my mind was like, I have to ask him, like, it's art in the eyes of the beholder,
Yeah.
or it's in the hands of the artist.
Is it context? I think it's context. Like there's found objects that could be in the the dump, but you put them in a gallery. It's art. Context. Yeah. But so those paintings they're very large. I think you're talking about, and they're supposed to act like sort of paintings that are objects, like sculpture or whatever. Yeah.
And there was a project that you were doing work on the gallery floor.
Yeah, and
That was cool, man.
and then I was like, so these big paintings came around because I was selling lots of smaller paintings, right? And I'm just like, I was breech birth, and I like do things backwards, ever, like always. That's how I am. And so I was like, this is like, I'm going to get like accused of being decorative or whatever. I'm just going to make this hard. And so I made them really big so they didn't fit in houses, so people couldn't buy them. Museums have purchased them occasionally, and that's cool.
How is the process of a
basically,
museum?
The process of a museum?
Purchasing something.
You needed an agent, basically. That's the standard model. So a museum will buy your work for the collection if the agent is telling them this is a good idea. If you just, like rock up yourself, hey, I'm an artist and you should really have this. Ignore your email.
Man, tell me more about this relationship between the artist, the middleman, the agents, and the people who buy, the people who
Collectors.
and put the place together so people can appreciate the
Well,
art.
artists are like generally, creatives are, we're different, right? And collectors often aren't creatives, right? They're collecting art, they love art, and but they're not necessarily creatives, right? So you need someone who can speak their language, right? And so dealers are often creatives, but they've got a foot in each playing field. And they they're sort of very necessary, an agent, dealers, art dealers, etc.
Well, how is the deal with the cuts that they take?
50% these days is the standard model.
Really?
40% the guys that I'm working with at the moment, which is really lovely of them. Thank you. But I'm used to 50%, and the world over it's 50%. They take half. But then you wouldn't be selling. You need their space to show. They've got think about what it costs to have space these days. They've got high costs. Making art costs money, of course. You got to have your own space. Blah blah blah. But it's it's just the way it is. It used to be 33. It used to be 40, and now it's 50. Yeah.
When is it gonna flip? When is it gonna be more for them?
Well, I think there's dealers that do take 60%, but they would be your, giants of the art world, and they make you, if you're represented by someone who's absolutely massive and everyone knows them, then everyone's going to know you. So,
Have you got fucked over by one before?
nah.
Good. Or you don't want to tell me?
No, they don't. They're good people. I mean, everyone I've worked with has been, creative, I think, and
Good.
sort of caring towards it all. I mean, there's been some personality clashes, but we work that out usually,
Nice.
or we don't, whatever. I've worked with quite a few dealers. Many aren't in business anymore, but I'm working with a couple now. They're lovely. Yeah.
Would you do that job? Would you sell someone else's art?
Nah. Kind of did for a minute there, as in my 20s. We had an artist run space, and we acted like a dealer, but there were 10 of us, trying to sell each other's work, kind of thing. I think I might have made one sale for someone else's work.
How much did you take?
We didn't. Did we even take anything? I think we took 20% or 10% or something. 20%, I think.
Fair.
It was just for the gallery. I mean, we were ghetto, but it was cool. We were known. It was cool. Yeah.
Did you want to say something, Taylor?
No.
I saw you adjusting the mic. And
Yeah, just getting ready for it. But
how was it to
Go on,
work with
Taylor.
that guy, man?
Taylor's fantastic. Great guy. That's how I'm here. Love Taylor.
Oh man, thank you.
We can't get Taylor on camera, can we? He's got an excellent haircut
He
right
says
now.
that it will happen at some
We're
stage.
saving for a special moment
Oh, yeah,
of the
okay.
show.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
maybe episode 1000 or.
Well, you
something
hear that
like
voice, he's very, very good looking.
It's sexy, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, thank you.
And for you, it's just like, well, I might as well go and make some money every now and then and paint some houses, paint some
I've
spaces.
always done it because as I was talking about that market in New Zealand. I mean, I'm a painter, right? And I like make these commodities, which is paintings. It's interior design kind of thing. Like people grab them and use them to beautify their houses or whatever, as well as collect for whatever. But still, I wasn't making enough money to support 3 kids in Auckland, so I always had to paint houses, as well. Day job. But I did it for myself in Auckland, so I had time off to, I could stop and go and make some art, do an exhibition, etc. for a few weeks or something, But yeah, I just had to in New Zealand. This is New Zealand. This is why all my friends moved to the Northern Hemisphere, where you can, you can be an artist because there's just bigger population, more money. Bigger population, probably the same percentage of people look at art, but there's more of them. Thus, there's more money for the artists, more grants, and more, things to do.
Does the boom of technology and social media, is it helpful for artists? Because I work at the school and I work with a lovely visual arts teacher,
Yeah.
Janet Hugworth. She's amazing.
Right.
And I ask her a lot of questions, and she explains to me perspective, light, texture, all that stuff, that I'm not familiar with. I
Right.
love to go to a gallery and spend a lot of time there,
Right,
making
well.
my own interpretation first, and then reading the little blurb next to it and see if I
Yeah,
matched, see
yeah,
where I was
yeah.
going. Like sometimes I don't.
Right.
Sometimes I
right.
read it first. So I love the exercise of pushing my creativity and see where it
Yeah,
goes. But
good for
then,
you.
but when she,
We need people like you. Artists need you. Yeah.
thank you, there you
Yeah.
go.
The viewer.
But listening to her telling me that made me think about the tools that you guys have to put yourself up there, because for some reason I thought that a good Instagram account would be amazing for an artist. But then after listening to her and saying you actually have to be in front of it to understand what
It's
it
this
is.
big on Instagram. You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, that doesn't matter with art. A lot of art, you can make art on Instagram. A lot of artists do. It's just an Instagram page. Memes are art, now. That's a new thing. You got NFTs. That's also, that'd be the size of a screen probably, But that's digital art's a thing. However, it's like technology moves fast, right? So Instagram's going to be dead at some point. There'll be a new thing. There'll be, we'll have glasses that are our phones kind of thing, and that's how we'll look at art, or snippets of art. But I think you'll always have brick and mortar galleries. You'll always have exhibitions,
And then once it's gone, we will make fun of us in the past, and the kids will make fun of us because we used to use Instagram.
Absolutely.
How stupid, Mom! Were you watching those little tiny
They already
pictures, and
are.
now they are?
They already are. It's like Be Real, right? No, it's Snap. Snap, of course. Hey, Jesse. Got a friend that works at Snap. But Snapchat.
Snapchat. Oh, you got a
Yeah.
friend who works at Snapchat.
Oh, is he still there? Fuck. Yeah, I think he
Wow.
is. Yeah.
Are you on Snapchat?
Nah, too old.
Do you make sense of it?
Yeah, I get it. I get Be Real. I get it, but I'm not going to step on that, Like, yeah. Just on the old Instagram. I don't really post anymore. Do you? Do you post much? You guys?
Well,
do. You
for
have
our
to.
social media,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
actually pretty good because the clips.
It's already changed, Instagram. You notice,
Yeah.
like years ago, even it was all about it was kind of like Facebook, and you updated your social pictures or whatever like that. And now it's all advertising, right? Yeah,
And they're following the TikTok trend.
yeah, and then the reels, now,
Yeah.
yada yada. But that's like passe as well, That's But it's all whatever. Is what it is.
I wonder where it's
But I mean,
going
yeah,
next.
what I was going to say is like, so like websites went around when I first started making art or whatever, and everyone was like, oh, you get a website. I kind of never did that. I think I've got a website.
You got a page. I saw you. It's very basic. It's your name. And
Yeah.
I had a look. I actually liked it because like it's very straight to the point.
Yeah, and
it's just your name.
I have not much going on in there. I think there's a contact and there's not many images on it, right? Yeah. But I have done a lot. It's somewhere out there. I used to have dealers for that kind of thing. That's why I never got a website that was on their website that you looked at my art kind of thing. But that's even sort of gone now. You know what I mean? It's like you don't even need that anymore. Yeah, it's funny world. How quickly we change. Technology changes. You know?
Is there any piece of art that you wouldn't sell?
What?
Of yours?
I would keep?
Yeah, that you would keep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've done some things I would never let go of. Yeah, for sure.
Did you tell your kids so they don't sell straight away when you're gone?
What do you mean when I'm gone? I haven't
Are they
got
gonna
that far
freeze
yet.
you, man? Are they
So I
gonna
have to
freeze you?
go home and put a will together now. I haven't
Just
thought
tell
about
them,
that. I'm
just
44.
tell
Do I
them.
look that old?
No, but just tell them. You never know.
Yeah, true. That one of the skull, don't sell that. Yeah.
There you see? That was easy done.
Yeah.
Now they know. We were talking to our friends, our good friends with Michael Smither.
Oh yeah.
And
cool.
we really want to bring him here. We just haven't managed yet to. We haven't made
He's not far away, but he's getting on.
He's not far, But apparently he said something funny. He was like, oh, motherfuckers are just waiting for me to die so they can sell it for like 3 times more.
Yeah, totally. He's like, I really like him actually. He's old world painter. Lives in the wilderness, paints away. That was kind of what I was going to do, but I got just caught up in this whole like restoring biodiversity thing. Yeah.
So following your story, what you told me, you come to the wild.
Yeah, so I came to the wild, had a shit time in Auckland for a while there. It got really expensive. I think it's more expensive now. And then
What area were you?
So my kids went to school in central Auckland around Ponsonby. Now they're at Western Springs High and whatever. But anyway, I had to live around there, and it was, like high rents but just you got to work all day every day, and it's just not life. Well, I mean, it's life, but you have to do that. Anyway, and so I got out here. It was a pretty shit year actually, and that sort of helped me move out here. And then it was like, wow, shit, I better get to work out here. How do I do that? And then met some people, got some information. And then I started. So there's like 350 acres plus like a whole bunch of the Kuaotunu Peninsula that I can access to sort of help clean up. You know what I mean? And there's the weeds and the pests. Anyway, I got there and first of all started this was 2019. First of all, I started cobbling together huts so my kids had shelter, and then ran out of dough, and then COVID hit, right? And then it was like, oh, thank God I moved to the wilderness. I'm not stuck in Auckland in an expensive apartment with no income. You know what I mean? That would have been. That was real lucky I was out here. But anyway, point is I was like talking to the Project Kiwi people. I was like, how can I do this and whatever? And then there was this new toxin developed called cholecalciferol. And it was developed for possums. So you've heard of 1080, right? And how horrible 1080 is. It stays in the environment for months and months and kills literally everything that goes near it and eats the carrion or whatever. You're going to kill everything. Anyway, so that's the only way you could get possums with toxin, right? And so in this area, this 350 acres that I can access, there was a bait station network put in 20 years ago. And we all did that because we were noticing trees were getting eaten to death, kind of thing, like Pahutakawa, and that was possums, whatever. But we couldn't use 1080 because you blah, blah, blah. So we were basically...
Possums eat the kauri.
Pahutakawa.
Pahutakawa.
Sorry. Yeah, they kill Pahutakawa. They will eat a Pahutakawa to death. But anyway, we were noticing that was happening. This is why we put the bait station network in. There's a group of people, we all live out or own this place, and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, and so we put the base station network in 20 years ago. So we had this infrastructure to poison possums, right? And we had this new poison. And then, it must have been it must have been just before COVID, because had volunteers like all helping, and every Friday we'd go out and fill up these bait stations with cholecalciferol, which is this, it's vitamin D, right? But it's a high dose of vitamin D and it targets possums. We got rid of all the friggin' possums. Like, they were gone within 6 months, whatever. Then COVID hit and couldn't get any volunteers. But the volunteers, they were great. They were there for about a year, week in, week out. And that was enough to really nail the possums, right? And then we nailed the rats, because we could put out the rat bait again without the possums interfering, and the rats took it rather than the possums eating it and not dying, blah, blah, blah. So all of a sudden there was all these birds again, and it was like, holy shit, I'm into this. And then I just got obsessed with it and wanted to get rid of everything that was there. So lately, it was kind of a bit like that. And so this is when I learned about the holistic approach, the
holistic approach.
The holistic approach to life, to everything. You've got to take the holistic approach, which I was warned by Paula Williams, who was the genius behind Project Kiwi. I don't know if she started it, but she's running it now. And I was hassling her pretty much every day about how to do things. So patient, Paula. Anyway, and she was always saying, take the holistic approach, just do a bit at a time. And I learnt that because I literally got rid of, with the volunteers, all the possums and a big number of rats. And this is how I noticed the birds, boom, after the spring. So this is like from the beginning of 2020 to the end of 2020, got all these birds. Then suddenly kind of no birds, and dotterels aren't breeding anymore. All the eggs are getting taken. And it's because I've upset the ecosystem that's existed since the 90s, which is cats, rats, stoats, ferrets, pigs, dogs, wild dogs. The cats are feral. These are all wild animals. They're not people's pets or whatever. But they're all living there all throughout this. And the cats were farming the rats. And there was no rats for them to eat anymore. So they had to prey switch and find something to eat, these cats. And so they took out all birds, the dotterel eggs. There's no rabbits there anymore. We had quail. Quail were on the ground. They're all gone. All that. Yeah. So the holistic approach to things. Yeah.
So when you say that, do you mean is it more of a balanced or what?
You got to do a bit at a time.
Bit of a time,
a bit at a time,
a bit at a time of each.
Yeah, well, I guess so. Just not overkill. So that's my city mentality I came out here with. Do it all, get it. Obsess. But that's not how you do life. This is what I'm talking about. Harvesting fish all day or whatever is problematic, because you're going to have no fish, and then you're going to have lack of biodiversity, and then the ice caps melt, and then we're all dead. There's no floodplains are full of water again, etc. Because monoculture, and that's not a holistic approach. So back to that holistic approach. Anyway, in the end, I finally got about 8 of the cats, and the dotterels have got eggs again this year for the first time in 3 seasons, right? So 2 years, and they're not getting eaten by cats anymore, which is great. But I've gone easy on the toxin, not so much toxin, because I've got to have a few rats. No possums. Possums are a total pain. They're terrible for bird life, because they eat all the eggs in the trees, because they're always in the tree. Yeah, you think it's stoats and whatever, but these stoats are mustelids, stoats, ferrets, weasels. They're in there, but they're mostly eating rats and insects like the weta and rats and mice. Actually, this year also about the holistic approach. So rats must eat mice, because there was a huge boom in mice in autumn, because again, there's not so many rats around. Yeah, crazy.
It feels like a bit like a never-ending.
Yeah. Well,
process.
This is the thing. Back out of here,
because then we make them pets. Right?
Yeah, and then so we've got this bait station network or whatever, or this area that I'm controlling with my trapping and poison or whatever. But outside that, there's nothing going on, and they're all living there like they have since the 1970s or the 1870s or whatever, Yeah. So anyway, so they're always coming in. So it is a never-ending kind of thing. But although I mean, I set up kill traps for possums on the outside of said toxin network and got hundreds of possums. Don't see so many possums anymore. Like, it's not endless, probably. And this predator-free New Zealand thing, it's like, it's hopefully not endless. I think eventually, if everyone does it all at once, it's over, and we're not killing pets anymore. Pets of the Northern Hemisphere. It's a real weird period for New Zealanders. You know, people out here, we have to do this job that hopefully isn't forever. It's pretty weird. Like, you know, killing a cat. It's a fucking strange thing to do.
Well, but that's the thing, man. Is it? Because, like, I'm not saying that it's not, but what I mean
geographically.
Is like, but what I mean, like, for me it is, because I think it's weird to kill any of those animals.
Yeah, totally.
And that's why, as someone who don't even consume animals, and that's why I started the show saying that to you, because for me, it would make more sense if we were eating all that shit.
Yeah, well,
you know, like if you go to indigenous or like people, they would praise, they would get the animal, and they would make like a beautiful celebration, and they would eat the animal, and they would make use of all the parts of the, you know what I mean?
I'm kind of doing that. I'm catching them and then cutting them up and using them to catch more. And I'm talking to them because I'm crazy.
But like,
was that
funny Taylor, funny Papa, man. And see, like that's why sometimes I really feel like we're failing as society. I try my best to be an optimistic, but like people will laugh about something like that, like you just said, like Taylor just did, you know, because
we are failing as a society.
I don't see anything wrong with eating any animals if you understand that they're all the same.
Working with Taylor on the way to work, so we had to get there real early. Working with Taylor, like, you know, and I'd be the first on the road, and I was picking up the roadkill way, and people were like tooting, like, "The fuck, dude, you're doing it tough, doing it real tough. Here's some encouragement, toot toot."
So when you see like a possum, like
rabbit,
a rabbit.
No, so they're fresh. So when you see a possum that's all munted on the road, that's not been run over that way. That's a hawk has come in and eaten it, and that's why it's all desiccated and all that. Yeah.
Because they usually die with the impact.
They die with the impact, and it's like, I don't know. Have you seen a run over? Back to cats, but like in the city, you know, my cat got run over. They look normal, but they're crushed inside if they've been run over because the wheel isn't sharp. You know, it's rubber. You know. So anyway, point is, I'd find these rabbits specifically is what I wanted. Fresh rabbit is the best way to catch mustelids and feral cats. But yeah, so these fresh rabbits I'd be able to get first thing in the morning, and they'd like, you know, it was kind of cold, and it was like they'd been in the fridge. It was perfect. But anyway, cutting up the fresh rabbit, it's like it does smell kind of good. And this is why it catches the animals. It's because it's not processed bait you buy from a supplier. It's proper food. And like, it does. Rabbit. I mean, I've eaten rabbit in Italy. Like, it's beautiful rabbit. Yeah. I've had a rabbit ragu. It's delicious.
See, that's the thing.
My friend came, this is before the cats were upset by the rat poison, and there was, you know, the ecosystem was all cats, rats, possums, pigs, and the odd feral dog probably. And kiwi live where I live. Somehow they survive amongst all these guys. Like, they can fight off all those guys, the adult kiwi. This is what Project Kiwi do, by the way, is they look after kiwi. So they're harvesting eggs off 20 males, because the males look after the egg. These kiwi have got it going on. It's a matriarch system, you know.
Why is the kiwi so relevant for New Zealanders, for our environment, or is more of a single?
I don't know why it's our mascot. I don't know what's going on with that. That's just somebody in the old world was like, let's call everyone kiwi.
So there's
probably because they cannot fly, man.
We're stuck out here. That's it. Yeah.
But I thought that there was something important in the in the environmental world, that the kiwi would make an essential thing.
They're an incredible animal. So they're not. I wouldn't say they're a bird. They've got a woolly feather. Their nostrils are at the end of their nose, and they've got at the end of their beak, I should say, which is, birds don't do that. It's always up here, their nostrils at the top. And they've got ears, right? And of course they've got a little wing, but it's like they were evolving out of being a dinosaur, right? So dinosaurs probably had feathers, like woolly feathers like that to keep warm, and probably looked like birds. Dinosaurs, you know. I mean, there was the lizard types, but probably lizards look like birds. They probably had feathers. We don't know, but like speculating, but. But anyway, point is a kiwi is like a dinosaur that was on its way to becoming a mammal and stopped evolving because it had no reason to evolve anymore, right? And I think because they survived amongst, like, they're hardy, they're real tough, that's probably why the oldie colonial New Zealanders started calling New Zealanders Kiwi to seem tough, you know? Notice I never put an S on the end of it. There's no S in Te Reo Māori.
Kiwi.
And people are calling us Kiwis. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Kiwi.
You idiots. We're Kiwi, plural, okay?
Come on, man.
Yeah.
You're telling me that it's better to not fly and have ears than actually...
No, see, this is the
fly?
thing. This is the thing about the whole, like, cats are a bad thing in New Zealand is because geographically challenged. There was no predators for any of this stuff. You know, there was nothing out here except birds or dinosaurs, you know, like a few dinosaurs and some evolved birds that for some reason started flying.
So they're like emu family kind of.
Kiwi? Don't know. I don't know enough about it. But anyway, back to the Project Kiwi, they harvest eggs to make sure, because with all those stoats, cats and shit around, the babies were getting eaten, right? So Project Kiwi was born in the, I think, 80s or 90s to make sure that the eggs, the juveniles, were hatched and got through to adulthood, and then they're re-released into the wild. And they've been re-released throughout, you know, Coromandel, because out here these kiwi are called Coromandel brown. They're a different type of kiwi to, you know, the North Island kiwi and the South Island kiwi, and you know, there's a few different types of kiwi.
I saw that on the website. Five different species.
Yeah, is that it? Yeah,
of kiwi.
Yeah.
Do you see them? Like, is it when you're doing that work? Is it?
I hear them, but they're
them.
nocturnal, right? And they've got ears, right? So they hear you. So they're not going to make themselves known most of the time, you know, unless you pretty much stand on where they're sitting.
Yeah.
They won't come out. So I mean, yeah, I've seen them following Project Kiwi experts who go and check on them, you know, do their yearly check or whatever, and followed them into the bush and seen the kiwi I hear every night. But no, they're smart. They're way too smart to be seen.
Man, I get the point with animal cruelty that the people who don't support the chemicals use. I think that they would say that, like, oh, there's animal cruelty involved and blah blah blah. blah.
Why, by taking the egg?
Oh no, sorry. Going back to the using 1080 and using the poisons, just going back there. So for the people who use the argument, is that anything else that you say? Because like for you who defends one thing, I believe you understand, you at least know what the people who don't will say. Is that a thing to do with that poison going into the soil? Is that
No. So yeah, 1080 goes into the soil, goes into the water. Yeah, it spreads, and it's problematic because it lasts so long, right? Brodifacoum, also same sort of problem. Cholecalciferol was developed with all that in mind. It's vitamin D. So humans take cholecalciferol pills, not in the dose that we put out for possums. And possums are, of course, like a 100th of our size kind of thing. Not quite, but anyway.
When they're babies,
if they're 5 kilos, anyway, whatever, the 20th. And so they die from the huge dose of vitamin D, you know. But it doesn't stick around in the environment. That's the whole point of it. It's very, very good toxin to use. Hence why so with the pet food industry, people are harvesting possums, catching possums, using their fur, selling the meat to pet food. Pet food is often made of possum, okay, in New Zealand. With cholecalciferol,
say that again.
Your pet food is often made with possum in New Zealand. So like, there's no stand down period to harvest a possum with cholecalciferol in its system. If you're using cholecalciferol in the zone, you're harvesting possums, but you wouldn't be trapping possums in a place using cholecalciferol, because you need to have a very freshly dead possum to pluck its fur. But anyway, point is, so that's why we use this poison. It's finally developed anyway, and this is how I can get rid of all the possums. It's a beautiful thing.
Wow. I was just thinking.
But see, animal cruelty, I mean, obviously, I mean, there's like a way to do this that's, of course, in the northern hemisphere where there's civilized world up there. Did you know that? But anyway, they've developed ways of sterilizing the unwanted pests. Okay?
That's what I was thinking. So it is the
thing. So you put out something, No, you could, we don't use that out here. We can't use it with possums because it might spread to Australia, where they're native and revered. the brush-tailed possum is
how would
protected.
It spread?
It just does with the way we are now, like with the way humans travel. So it's boats, planes, private vessels. Someone might have a pet fucking possum on their boat and end up in Australia, and it gets out, and then it spreads this essentially virus that makes them all sterile, and they'll go extinct, right? Yeah. So we can't use that for possums. We can't use it for. We could use it for rats, but I don't know if there's a way to do it for rats. Stoats would be ideal for. That'd be great. Stoats are the biggest problem with stoats, and ferrets are the biggest problem for kiwi specifically, right? So that's what I'm paid to trap, However, I go further because I'd like Tuturi Whatu, the New Zealand dotterel. I like Toreapano, the oyster catcher. I like the riro, I like the tauho. I really, really want a tomtit. Don't know the Māori name because I don't see them because they're not there yet.
Andrew, sounds a little bit dumb, this idea, man, to create a virus for a mammal.
Well, no, I think it's a toxin again, and it renders whoever eats it sterile, right? So it doesn't kill them. So it's humane. It's more humane, right?
But it's like, how about if by any chance we get the humans to be,
Let's make the humans extinct with our virus was the wrong word. Just edit that out.
Sounds like a thing that would be like, New Zealand's
You might get some hits for that if I'm advocating a new virus. I meant, it's a toxin. But anyway, that's happening in the northern hemisphere with various.
So you don't think it's actually
invasive pests.
A good idea? You don't see it as, because in my
the sterilization thing? I think it's a great idea. That's because what we're doing.
How you gonna?
Well, no, it's the technology's there, I believe, but it's bureaucracy. Like that we don't have it. It'll be expensive, probably more expensive than the toxin that's been made. Toxin's made in New Zealand, kind of thing. I'm not an advocate for 1080, by the way. I've never used it. It does work though.
That's good to say.
It does work.
On the internet.
Pretty much the only way to get 100% of your rats out of your forest is 1080. But you will kill a few tuatara and a few birds as well, and then maybe poison your water too. Yeah.
Do you think we'll get there to reestablish?
Predator free? I think everyone has to do it all at once, and at the moment there's like pockets. And saying that,
so then we
holistic approach, okay? So it's proven in the marine environment, right? So if you get a marine reserve in amongst all the fishing spots, the fishery where they're raping and pillaging the ocean, but you make a certain area, right, unavailable, it will recover. I think it was David Attenborough saying this on his latest thing. That area, that whole area will recover, and the fishing will become sustainable, right? So you've got farms all over New Zealand, right? Like there's a book out there by Jeff Buck, Na Ura Ora. Everyone should read that. Just details what used to be here and what is here now. It's all farms now. There's no rainforest anymore, no biodiversity. It's all monocultural agriculture. Government now is actually advocating planting frickin' Pinus radiata everywhere. Another monoculture, like no biodiversity in pine forests. Kaka like pine. I think Weta will like pine too, but not many other species like the pine forest. Certainly no other plants will grow in there because it poisons the earth. Acidic pine needles. But anyway, that's monocultural. But anyway, so with all of our farms all over New Zealand, right? Same principle to the oceans, right? this is a speculative idea I've got here. What if you got the crown who fucked all this up, who came here, took all the resources, burnt it all down, turned it to pasture and put cows and sheep on it for butter for Europe and wool. Anyway, bit of meat here and there. Anyway, if you got the crown to like sort of compensate these farmers who are going to have to give up a percentage of their land to rewild it, you know, wouldn't the whole land be like those areas that are overfished, that, you know, you've got the marine reserve. Say you've got a little bit of each farm becomes rewilded with native forest. This takes hundreds of years, by the way, to get a native rainforest up and at 'em. But if you planted it immediately you're going to have benefits. Like the whole area is going to heal a bit like, you know, the ocean does when you put a marine reserve in. And then you might have more sustainable farming. But like, of course, land has to be given up. This is a big issue in New Zealand because whose land is it anyway? You know, is it like stolen? Probably.
And is the
like, you know, there's another culture that's totally ignored in all this. But anyway, like you really, like, that's not a bad option to rewild percentage, compensate these dudes that are going to lose some of their land, their livelihood, compensate them well, King Charles. Like some of those jewels on that crown, like sell a few of those, you know.
That's why we had
flip it out to the colonies.
Yeah, man. That's why we had
fix your colonies.
The mask of the Queen with the beautiful crown on the wall there, and that was the thing that I said. I was like,
R.I.P. Elizabeth. Yeah.
That was exactly what I said. You know, like that. I don't see the point. You know, like I understand people feeling bad because it's a human and we're all allowed to grieve, and I'm all good with that. But like, look at that demonstration of wealth.
Yeah.
Look at how ridiculous it is.
It's ridiculous.
To be in 2022.
Well, the big diamond that belongs to India, right? Right. That's from India. Those people mined that, cut it. All that was just taken. Yeah.
So when you say those things, like it's upsetting because it sounds very simple, and it's a country that it would not lose anything of what it represents by being nice to other countries. It would actually maybe thrive even more. Because then the English people would, because a lot of them...
The English people are suffering bad at the moment anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, so they actually need to do it to their own place. They are actually, there's a lot of talk I read about rewilding the UK, bits of the UK like that, but they kind of fucked up. Like Europeans, a few nations really fucked the earth, you know, the whole earth, and then here we are. Yeah.
Is it a power trip? Is it a thing with humans knowing that we're gonna die and not being keen to invest, like you said, in something that is only gonna benefit next generations because we are so selfish or something? What's the thing?
Yeah, human nature. Like we don't think beyond. You know, like you see people making foundations and whatever. It's all vanity as well. It's like it's a vanity project. For after I'm gone, people will remember me, not the legacy,
not what it was left for others.
Well, I mean, it is for others, but it's got this dude's name on it that died, you know, and he gave all the money or whatever, like yada yada. It's a, you know, legacy project. A lot of those in the art world.
But then at the same time,
a lot more in the Northern Hemisphere than here. But anyway,
yeah.
That's how artists survive, is on legacy projects, you know, a lot of the time. Yeah.
And it's a tricky one because we all gotta eat, and then you gotta
you gotta eat. But this is what I mean about a percentage of the farm. It's not the whole fucking farm, you know. And that farm would be so much healthier, with that rainforest with it. Because what do rainforests do? You know,
the people would be healthier.
They make rain.
The people would be healthier.
The people would be healthier. The animals would be healthier. The ground is the important thing for farms. The ground would be healthier. The soil. You know?
When you have industries that rely on sickness and all that stuff, it's very hard to trust that they will ever believe, because then you got to feed the pharmaceutical industry, because people getting sick is a business as well. So eating poorly, it's also a business, right?
Oh my God.
Ooh. We're going deep with Andrew Barber.
It's horrible, right?
Friday nights.
Like, it's just all about money. But like, we probably, you know, I don't know. We could stop the worst effects of climate change. We haven't seen them yet, but it's going to be very, very, very much a lot more water on the ground when the ice melts, and it's like getting hotter. And then there's like, as it gets hotter in New Zealand, so you've got the building code, right? And the building code's all based on the kind of weather we get here. What if we suddenly get the kind of weather you get in the central states of America, hurricane, like tornado, 200k an hour winds, all that kind of thing from the very hot atmosphere that makes the storms so much more powerful? It's like really going to get interesting. My poor kids. Anyway.
Is that a country that we should be looking up to? Do you see? Do you keep up with the news? Like, do you?
Yeah,
read?
I do. Because I'm pretty much isolated where I live, right? So like, I do watch and read, and the current events. Is there a country?
Or someone,
I think it's starting to happen. We need to look to so the story of Easter Island, right? That's a very old culture that learnt you can't take all the resources or you become extinct. You have to leave. So take Easter Island as the Earth, right? Back to Mars kind of thing. So the Earth becomes uninhabitable like Easter Island, and we go to Mars. Whoever lived on Easter Island moved somewhere else, but learnt from that, right? Way back then. And indigenous cultures, they learnt a long time ago, you've got to be holistic about how you harvest, right? So you could look to indigenous cultures and listen to them about how to live better.
But then there's no consumerism involved, man. What are we going to do?
There's no capitalism in that. Yeah. They call us humans of late capitalism, right? This is the late stages of capitalism. Like, it's going to collapse.
It is going to collapse. Do you think it could get worse then?
Well, it's all abstract. It's all on futures, right? So the share market and whatever, it's all about the share market, the big ones in the Northern Hemisphere, in Asia. And if they're gone, if that trust in the future is gone, so you can't borrow money anymore because you can't guarantee you're going to make it to pay it back. So that's what futures is all about. If that goes, capitalism collapses. Fuck knows what goes on then. I guess, watch the Hollywood films with the apocalypse to see what happens. Yeah.
When you were at school, did you guys have Te Reo Māori as a subject?
A good friend of mine asked at school, hey, I want to be taught Te Reo. He was Māori. And they're like, nah. This is in the dark ages of the 1990s. Yeah, no.
Not that long ago, man.
Maybe very early, there was touched on at primary school, but it was all on the teacher you had, and I had a good teacher one year. He mentioned something, one or two things. But nah.
Because you pronounce the words well, you like it. Like it's nice. It's easy to see that you appreciate
living in isolation in the wilderness, and I realized that I'm in native forest with native animals, and they all have a name, right, for 1,000 years. And they just got renamed 150 years ago. So I was like, I better learn the proper name for all these things. Yeah. So I just talked to myself and practiced. And I have an amazing mechanic who teaches me the odd thing when he's got time.
I think
we really want to bring PJ.
PJ.
Yeah, we really want to bring him here. Eh?
Birianga Automotive. All you need.
Okay. We're gonna make it happen. It's interesting because I think most humans understand that challenges are important, but I think we prefer the concept than actually the hands-on thing. So when people say, "Oh, you gotta put yourself there," and it's the same thing with languages, isn't it? Like, if you put yourself out there to learn new words, a new language, you're just getting smarter. Like, there's no way out of it. It's just better for your brain, right?
It's good for your brain. Yeah.
But there's resistance. Is it racism? Could be.
Humans, it's just like, so we're taught things very early on, and we tend to live that way the rest of your life. There's a great quote. It's like, escape the prison of your childhood. Escape the prison of your childhood, right? And that means that, before 4 in your family home, that's where you learn everything, and you just go through life living according to those rules, and that way you were brought up. For those first few years, I think it's even before 4, right? And then, of course, at school you get your peers and you learn a few more things, but you're still learning off those things. And then there's your genes as well, you know, and they're going to like make you think and, you know, react a certain way. It's all reactions in life, isn't it? Anyway, but where was I? What was I talking about?
Well, about habits of breaking,
getting so therefore, you know, like escape the prison of your childhood. Not many people do, you know. But you basically need therapy to get out of your habits that you learned before you could, you know, write. You know. Do
you see a therapist? Have you been to sessions
totally
before?
Been to a therapist.
Did you find it useful?
Been to a few. Yeah, totally. Always useful. Yeah. Can't afford it, to be honest. Just a poor artist, poor simple painter. I can't afford a freaking therapist. I would go like every day. The poor therapist would be real sick of me. But yeah, I've got questions. But yeah, no, it was a dude I saw that taught me about how so like I met someone and she was like, oh, you're bipolar, labeled me bipolar. Get a therapist. And I was like, okay. Like went and did it. And he was like, yeah, you're not bipolar. Make a note of, you know, when you feel good, when you feel bad, because I've got an idea about what this is that you're experiencing. Turns out, like I'm very, very open to the cycles of the frickin' moon. So when, you know, my lows were at the same time of the month, well, not the month, but the moon cycle, you know, and my highs were always at the same time of every moon cycle, and my you know, this and that and the other. And then much later, I learnt that Māori had, you know, maramataka, which is, yeah, they lived absolutely by the moon. By the way, all the animals I'm trying to catch, every animal on Earth lives by the frickin' moon, not by the sun, not by anything, just the frickin' cycles of the moon. The tides, right? That's the moon. It's a fucking powerful thing, man.
So when you say live by the moon,
I honestly organize my time by what cycle of the moon.
Give me like an example of like, what does it mean, like to. Is it like an energy thing? Is it something?
Yeah, totally. So like, you know, you classic, your full moon, right? That's when I'm high, where I've got all the self-belief in the world and I can do anything, you know, and I will, and I'll hit people up and I'll ask for this and that and I'll get it and I'll fucking help people and I'll get out there. All about art practice as well, right? So like if I want to make something new, if I really want to create and be creative, I'll do that on the waxing moon. From the last quarter to the new moon, there's nothing going on for me. That's when I need to do like roadworks, you know? I need to dig holes and do manual labor, do the washing, like all this shit that you don't need anything, you don't need to think about anything, you know, and don't be social in those periods or whatever. And then I learned, yeah, maramataka is actually kind of in line with what I do. I mean, of course, I don't think we're really individuals. I'd say it's everyone. And so look into maramataka, because that thing's pretty damn onto it. That's a culture thousands of years old that live their life by the moon and have got it published out there for you to look at.
For you, I can tell it was liberating because you made sense of something. But do you think that for some people who maybe are not that confident about themselves, they can use something like that as also an excuse, like, to hide and to say, oh, it's not my day, or you think we should actually we
do take crutches, like, you know, humans. Then you can totally do that, like, oh, I'm not going to do that today, but actually it's pretty spot on, maramataka.
And
not completely with me, to be honest. But then again, all the animals, like, it's totally spot on with them.
No, man, and it actually makes sense.
The wild, I mean, we've got society, like we've got this weird construct around us. We're not wild anymore, you know. It's slightly different for us, but the animals, absolutely. Yeah.
It makes sense because if we were all more in tune with that, we would have to slow down.
The
And if
weekdays,
we-
this 9 to 5 thing, and the weekends, this is the fucking weekend. You're going to have a good time, but it's like a new moon and there's no fucking energy. And it's like the middle of winter and you're going to have a fucking good time because it's the weekend. But no, you're not.
But it's not.
You're not.
Maybe we'll
you
be
need to chill.
on Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah.
But you gotta go to work, so it's no
Yeah,
time to have a good time. But it would be the
yeah.
best time for you to be creative.
That would be the best time for you to be doing the fishing or the hunting or the gathering or whatever. Like, yeah, yada, yada. But you have to go to the factory and be there on time and all that. You know, the factory, that was invented not that long ago. You know, the assembly line.
Mm.
It was, you know, Industrial Revolution.
Mm.
And before that, the assembly line, the railway came at the same time, about the same time, the invention of the railway and the rail line. We didn't measure time. We lived by seasons, moon, lunar, and the sun. And so the reason they started, you know, Greenwich Mean Time was so people were on time for the assembly line, because if somebody didn't feel like work that day, the product didn't get made because there wasn't one person in that part of the assembly line. So the English started, you know, the railways and the time to get people to the factory to get that fucking work out there, you know, like to get that product out there, which was cotton and sugar, which was the slavery.
Slavery.
For the slaves out in the, you know, Caribbean doing all that. And then back in England, the people were becoming slaves too.
Man, yeah, I think I think about that quite a lot, because now that we're doing this, it's a business, right? So we're trying to make this work and make
Right.
it viable, so we can really love and enjoy the things that we do. But first, you gotta go through all the hassle and pushing, you know. But I keep reflecting, because a lot of friends say, be friends with money. There's nothing wrong with money, you know, like you gotta love that. And I'm like, yes, I do make sense, but I think even more important than making peace with money, it's actually understanding what's the outcome. Why do you want that? Where you going? Because we also see a lot of people with a lot of money very unhappy, right?
Yeah, it's an old trope. You know, money doesn't buy happiness, but you know, you like, this is capitalist society. Even of communism, you needed money in communism, I think, like, because there was always a black market. There's always a capitalist structure somewhere. Anyway, you need money to live, to live.
Because it's an idea of trade.
Yeah.
Right? Like when you break that idea of like, oh, the money, the paper, it's actually because you need resources, right? You need things to survive and to
you
build
need
a house.
Yeah, and of course you need money because you can't go out and harvest it yourself anymore, you know, so you need that money to buy that meat, veg and dairy.
But then it's too quickly that we turn that into a highly consumerism kind of...
Big time.
Do you find yourself a high consumer of something, or there was a time that you were?
Used to be. Since I've been out here, not so much. Like, I mean, I can't earn less money because I'm not in Auckland, right? For a start, that's where the money is, in the North Island of Aotearoa, New Zealand. But yeah, I'm less so. But I used to. But I was in Auckland, and I'd get to the Northern Hemisphere once a year. That would cost like 20 grand. Like, the fucking guy had to make that fucking dough to get that travel in, and to fucking, you know, to get those clothes to look good, to all that shit.
Clothes, that was your thing?
Well, you had to in the city. You're going out, you're meeting people, trying to meet people, trying to get kids, trying to fucking get be a cool artist or whatever. Get some cool shoes.
Gotta look good.
Gotta look good. But not so much out here. There's no one to look good for. The freaking birds that I'm trying to look after, who hate me, think I'm a predator, right?
They
That's
shit
hilarious.
all over you, man.
Yeah, they hate me. It's funny, you know. It's great. Again, it's like going to Japan. Like, anyway, they don't.
You should
care.
write a
They
book,
don't
man.
care if I'm wearing clothes or not. They would probably hate me less if I didn't wear clothes, I think. You know.
You should write The Japanese and the Birds. That would be a great book. The ones
Japanese and the birds. I've never been much of a writer, to be honest.
I was actually thinking about that. If all the artistic outlets make your time flow.
I've got no musical talent. I love listening to music, and karaoke is my thing. So I was a big time drinker. Loved drinking. totally fucked my life up. So I had to quit drinking. And while I was a drunk, I loved karaoke. And anyway, so I quit drinking, and I was like, fuck it, I can't do karaoke anymore, because, you do it when you're drunk, right? Turns out you don't need to be drunk, and it's just like being drunk. Like when you do karaoke, it's a massive release. And I can't sing. You can hear it in my voice. I can't sing. I'm a terrible singer.
I told a friend last night, beautiful Emma, that she says the same, and she's got a beautiful voice just like yours. And I think there's this African saying, man, if you can talk, you can sing. If you can walk, you can dance. So, and we were talking about that, of like how society, again, like we're giving a lot of shit to society. I love it. To the ways to the ways that we're forced, that are imposed to us, because there's nothing more liberating if you find a safe place that you can just like, that's the thing with singing. When
that's
you get
fucking karaoke, that's what it is. It's primal scream.
I couldn't feel better, that's my thing. I'm a drummer, and I learned how to do like harmonies, so I tapped into my singing at a very early age. Right. But recently I started putting myself, are we all good? Suddenly I started putting myself out there at the front with the microphone, it's so good. I feel light, and there's a sense of empowerment as well.
I get it. It's a huge release. Like for me to do karaoke, it's like, I do it by myself. This is when I first did it in Auckland, quitting drinking. I went and booked a room by myself. The dudes look at me strange. They're like, what the fuck?
And suddenly you
don't look Chinese or Korean. Only Chinese or Koreans do this. Anyway, and I was like, wow, it's amazing. Like, it is a release. I swear to God, church religions, right?
Yeah.
I swear to God, that's why they do it. It's because of the singing, the group singing, their vibrations get up here. And that's why they're happy to tithe some of their income, and they go every weekend. It's the frickin' singing.
Because it's fine to sing there. It's okay to sing there with a group,
with a group, and sing the hymns and blah, blah, blah. They should just do karaoke, save the money.
Why did you stop drinking? Sorry, bro. Did you realize why did you stop drinking? Was it just not good enough? Not good enough?
It's just like I recognized I was a addict, drinker, alcoholic, doing it for the alcohol, not for what you're supposed to do it for. Yeah.
And we also mentioned something cool before the show, because you said you separated from your wife a few years ago, and you haven't got a partner, and then you were saying that you kind of like paying attention to the
animal.
The animal.
So we've got in our genes, we've got every ancestor that came before us, and our ancestors are apes. Before that, they were lizards. Before that, it's all within us, right? So a lot of our urges and our this love, I'm so in love, and I'm all fucking dotty and crazy. That's an animal instinct. It's not human. If you ask me. So I'm like trying to get past that, recognizing that, and just go, no, let's just go past that. Yeah.
Because when it's time for it, you appreciate more, I would say.
I think it's a like that whole lovey-dovey feeling. It's a mechanism to breed. It's so humanity continues. It's an animal instinct to breed, to make sure. And I've done that. I've got 3 of the thing. I've bred too much. Like, I know. I love you all, thank God. But technically, there's I'm overpopulating the earth because there's 3, not 2, or 2.4 or 1.5 or whatever, to just keep the population. Anyway, whatever. Point is I've done it, and I don't need to, honestly, I don't feel that anymore. And it's probably because I've got kids,
And less alcohol as well.
and no alcohol, yeah.
Man. That's a good chat, man. Thank you.
Yeah, is that it?
I think so, eh?
Oh, okay.
You know why?
Why?
Because we're going to karaoke now.
Does Whitianga have karaoke?
Twice a week, brother.
Bullshit. Where?
Smitty's on Thursday.
Smitty's. This is so exciting.
On Thursday.
I've got it all set up in my little hut.
Oh, man. So we're going there.
I should go there. Come on, let's go.
Whitianga Hotel tonight.
No kidding. Is there karaoke at the Whitianga Hotel?
Every Thursday on
Smitty's. Yeah, but is it in front of everyone? You don't get a private room, do you? You got to have the private room, or else it's hard to let go. You got to be pretty outgoing to let go.
That's when the Japanese nailed it. They did nail it. With those private rooms.
The private room. Fuck, you can't say you've lived till you've been to Japan and done karaoke. They do it so good there.
Yeah, it was one of my coolest experiences in life.
Speaking of the drinking, it's like it's costs less to book a room for the whole night with unlimited alcohol than it does to buy each drink as you go. That's the way it is.
You can buy. You can. I didn't notice that.
Yeah. No, you can book a room with unlimited alcohol. So they'll just keep bringing you to pick up the phone, and they'll deliver drinks to you, and that's cheaper. That's like a set rate, and it's cheap. Like all night. So you do it all night because the trains stop at 11. So you got in Japan, you've got to be out all night because there's no way of getting home. Yeah. Anyway, so we've got to go, right?
What I loved about there was they don't shame the drunk people.
Yeah.
So like I was waking up early because I was on the road. I was like, I don't have much time here, and I'm loving this trip.
Yeah.
And I would see this guy's like, and I have a great video. This guy like he was
dressed
doing
in a suit, right?
Oh yeah, super like looking great, but like doing all these like Street Fighter movements of like. Oh, and like no one gave a fuck. People just walking past him, let him be.
Huge population gives you anonymity. You don't get that in New Zealand. Little population.
Hey, go to Japan, check out Andrew Barber's artwork. If you got some money, buy some. If you don't, just like his Instagram pages.
That doesn't do anything. But yeah, send me a little heart. Yeah.
What's the best way? Is it like through social media, or you have the work exhibited somewhere? Because I read about.
I've got agents. I've got a couple of agents, and people know. It's good to And there's on my Instagram. There's like a few pictures, I guess. Nothing is available.
Come on, man! Don't give it that 50%.
Yeah,
40%. They take 40% because I'm ruthless. Yeah.
Well, if you want to buy through him, just call us, and we're gonna charge just 10%.
Yeah.
ALTBAYS, my new dealers.
Oh man, maybe we should tap into
direct from the caravan. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
My studio's a caravan.
Cool.
Hot. Yeah.
There you go. We might think about some renovations in our studio. Put some of your artwork around here. It would look cool.
Too much. There's a white wall. Look at that.
Yeah.
Gallery. Right
that one
there.
is waiting to become something. Man, thanks so much.
Cool. Thanks you.
We'll bring you back.
It's a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll come back. Yeah.
You should come back and be a co-host here with me. Sit next to me and chat with some. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Cool,
because usually we do. Usually we have a co-host here with me.
Right,
it was just a night that it was tricky to bring
I'll
people.
come back on Friday with this pizza. It's
I know,
so
right?
Good. Slice baby. Oof.
But it
Real
sounds
good.
like you would be great here next to me chatting with some people, so we might make that work.
What are these bites?
Yeah, boy.
That's how we have to employ the guy. We have to pay him.
Yeah. Oh, he's got another job. Yeah.
And for you guys watching us, thank you so much. Make sure to subscribe to our channel. We're live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Next week is gonna be a good one. Pay attention to our social medias. We're gonna put a post there. It's gonna be a good one. Tomorrow we're going to Auckland to see Idols.
Woo! Idols.
Good band. If you don't know them, check them out.
Yeah, boy.
Peace.
Bye-bye.
Kakite.